The number one tip to mending your relationship with men, and I want to talk about this because in this generation, there is a war, it seems like, between females and males on who is the worst and whose issue it is that our relationships are struggling so much lately. And in today's generation, why are our relationships being affected so much? And it is because of both genders trying to blame each other for not being shit. So, the number one tip to heal your relationship with men is to stop assuming that all men are the same. And to stop using phrases like, men ain't shit, I hate men. I understand that we have all been screwed over by someone before, okay? It might have been a female, it might have been a male. There are bad people all over the world. And there are bad men and bad females. Not necessarily bad, but there are females and males that don't know anything about relationships. So they don't know how to handle a connection and go about having a romantic connection. But you have to stop assuming that everyone is the same and being afraid to date and open up your heart again just because you got screwed over once. The number one tip to heal your relationship with, and this is specifically for you females, to heal your relationship with men, is to stop assuming that all men ain't shit. Because if you think and you keep on saying things like this, that's what you're going to keep attracting. You have to believe that at some point you will meet a good man if you want a good man, because trust me, we all want and crave a relationship, a meaningful, deep, and loving relationship. It is part of our desire and desires as humans. We crave this. It is in us. We are built for connection. And that is the only way that we can ensure that our generations keep going, is by having babies. The whole point of creating female and male was for reproduction. And we cannot do this if we are in a constant battle with men. We do not hate men. Stop saying that. You hate the fact that you got hurt by a man once. So now you carry around this freaking pain and you're projecting it onto every other man that you meet without knowing them. I am the freaking queen of dating, trust me. I have been screwed over a lot because I continue to be vulnerable and open. But I won't ever regret that, because I have met and have learned so much about relationships through the men that I have dated before. And not just because one person screwed me over, I'm going to assume that every other person is going to do the same. So stop assuming. Stop saying that men ain't shit. Because men are wonderful people and we love men. So stop saying that. You're hurting yourself. The second tip to healing your relationship with men, and this is going to be a hard one for us females because it was hard for me, is to accept the fact that sometimes we are the ones that are going to have to show vulnerability and be vulnerable first. You're going to have to be the one to bend a little bit first. For men in general, it is a lot harder for them to access emotions because of society, the way that they were raised, and the way that society has made out masculinity to be this super hard rock kind of personality where you don't feel, you don't cry, and you have to be strong. This is what the masculine has gone through and has grown up with. It is really hard for men to access their emotions, and I don't want you to take this like, okay, then she's using it as an excuse or excusing men of not accessing their emotions. They can. As adults, we all have a choice, and men do have a choice, and they can work on developing that vulnerable side. Divine masculine, as they say, is a man that is able to access emotions and is able to be vulnerable as well. But what I'm saying is that as a female, we sometimes have to be the ones to show it first, because it is easier for us to access those emotions. They are natural to us. We, as feminine energy, we flow with emotions, and it is a lot easier to get in touch with those emotions as females. Now, if you are in a partnership with a man and you show vulnerability first, and this man for some reason shuts it down or starts being negative or whatever, then at that point I would understand closing yourself back up. But you cannot assume that every man that you encounter does not deserve your vulnerability, because that just hinders the connection from being deeper and expanding the way that you want it to. So as a female, you need to practice how to access your emotions in a safe and healthy way with boundaries. I'm not saying like 100% bow down to a man and be 100% vulnerable where you're able to get hurt. You have to understand that being vulnerable means you can potentially get hurt, and that you have to be okay with that. Some men are afraid to cross boundaries. Therefore, they won't take the first step. They won't be the leaders that you want to see at first. You have to be patient. You have to see them as human beings. You have to see them as growing human beings. They're also trying to learn. They also want love. Why would men not want love? And why would we assume the men don't have feelings? Men feel very deeply. This is why it's so hard for them to allow themselves into those emotions, because it is a lot harder for them to heal from hurt, because they don't do it often. So when they do, it's really intense for them. And as females, since we are a lot more familiar with those feelings, we should be able to access them a lot easier and be able to do that, especially in a connection for our man. That way they feel more comfortable and vulnerable and are able to open up in that way for you. But you have to be comfortable with yourself and your emotions and in your femininity, because that's what the feminine energy is flowing emotions, and it's flowing energy. All right, so the second tip to healing your relationship with men is to accept that sometimes you will have to be the one to be vulnerable first, and you will have to learn how to be vulnerable with a man without being afraid of being hurt. Even if you've been hurt in the past, I know it sucks, trust me. I have been in love before, have gotten my heart broken many times, but I don't ever use that and project that onto other men, because not all men are the same. And you have to believe that, because it's true. If you don't, then you will keep attracting that you think of, which is men ain't shit. So good luck with that. We don't want that, ladies. Okay. Third and final tip to healing your relationship with men, and I don't want you females to hate me for this, but we are not the same. Okay? It is very hard, and I understand. We as females have worked so hard for equality in America and equality in general. And here is my point, hear me out. Do not judge before you have heard my position. We are not the same. God created us very different for a purpose. We're not the same. We're the same in the fact that we should be treated equally as human beings, with respect, with kindness, and we should be approached the same. But we are not the same. Scientifically, we are built different. Our brains process things differently. Our brains work differently. Our bodies are different. We have different body parts. If you haven't noticed, we are not the same. And we were built and created that way for a reason. And God had a purpose for doing that. I do understand where we as females have gotten sick and tired of not being treated equally in the workforce and not being paid the same and just being controlled by men. But you have to also understand that men were taught this, and we now have the power to reteach men, our young men, that we are birthing now for newer generations to come, so it's not this way. But we can't do it from a place of resentment and anger towards the masculine. It is crazy to me, and to see everything on TikTok, Instagram, Facebook, of all these females, just so much anger and resentment towards the masculine and towards men. And then that causes the man to be like, well, you, bitch. You know, like it's like a one person says one thing and then the man is all like, well, you did this, and then the woman's like, well, you ain't. It's like a back and forth thing that just doesn't go anywhere. It's just blaming, and we treat men, every man who comes into our life, like our exes or like the person that hurt you. And you have to understand, this person didn't hurt you just because he's a man. He hurt you because he is a hurt person, because he went through things that has not healed and that he has not healed. And it's a constant like work to heal these things. It's constant effort to heal these things. And we have to be aware of that. But we are not the same. We as females have powers and magic and energy that men cannot access as men. And men have abilities and things that they can do that we can't do as females. Can you make a baby without a man? I mean, you can, but you still need something from the man. You can go to the doctor and get sperm, but it still comes from the man. We were designed and created this way for a purpose and a deeper meaning. And this is how we should co-create in life, is to work with the men, not hate them and resent them. You cannot assume that every man is going to be the same. All right, so the third and final tip to healing your relationship with men, and this is very important for future generations. We have the power to teach our children to live peacefully and to co-create with the man, instead of teaching our daughters and sons to hate the opposite sex or to resent them because of something that you went through. This is ridiculous. Like, our generation has to do better, and we have to teach our children better for future generations to come. All right, so I understand that we as females have many rights. We are tired of being suppressed and controlled, but I do think that we have taken it a little overboard, and we have taken the anger, the resentment, everything that was done to us, and have somehow turned it into projection onto the men. And I can assure you that I have met men in the past that have lived up to every expectation of men ain't shit. But I have also met men that are nothing like that, that are absolutely nothing like that. And the fact that we use our past experiences to assume these things about men that we don't even know fully, or that we take the time to know because you're already judging, is really sad. We should not be judging anyone for that matter, whether it be a female or a male. Like, if you had a female friend that screwed you over when you were a child, that doesn't necessarily mean that you're going to not ever have another friend because your childhood friend screwed you over. both males and females can be messed up. We can be mean. We have demons that we fight and shadows, and we have all been hurt in so many different ways. We all have trauma. Stop assuming that you're the only one that went through shit, because we all have. And so have the men. They have been through trauma, things that they don't speak about. And that's one thing that I've learned as I've gotten older, is that most men with trauma have not even expressed it, which is a lot harder for them to deal with. Okay, so this whole video and purpose is to heal our relationship with men, to stop looking at them as bad people and stop hating men, stop resenting men, because we need the man and we need to co-create our future generations and future together. We should be working alongside with men. And I am getting to the point where I am thinking about family and starting a family, and we're getting older. Like, it's natural for us to want to shift in that direction, and that cannot be done without peace between genders, whether it be male female, male male, female female, whatever it may be. We need peace. Okay, so the entire point of this video, and I'm tired of seeing the TikToks, the Instagram, and it is very sad to see how much the females resent the men because of their past experiences. I do feel for you, and I'm sorry that you went through hell. So have I, and so has everyone else. It is part of life, and instead of taking it out on other people and men, you should heal so that you stop projecting this pain onto everyone that you meet. You might be missing out on a lot of very, very beautiful relationships and love. You're missing out on love, and we all need love. We all crave love. Deep down, I know you crave love. So stop sabotaging yourself. Stop self-sabotaging and open up, be vulnerable, and be open to love, as we all need it. And every human being on this planet Earth feels the same. Trust me. And we all want love, including the man. And we all want love, including the men. So, 3 tips to healing your relationship with men. I hope this video has made you think a little bit and put your current position with relationships and your current perspectives of relationships, and has made you look at men a little different. And if it got you thinking, then I did my part. That's all I want, is for you guys to think a little more about relationships and men and how we want our future to evolve together. So thank you so much for watching this video. Thank you so much for coming back to my channel. If you are new, make sure you subscribe, like, comment, shoot me a text message what you thought about the video. If you have any ideas, make sure that you come back to my next one. Blessings. I will see you in my next video.